Hello, everyone, and welcome to JHALAK, a first look, a first glance at works in progress, works that are on the cusp of being premiered. The premiere, of course, we're talking about on the digital platform. Today, we are honored and delighted to have Bharatanatyam's global star, Rama Vaidyanathan, as our guest. Rama has earned a sterling reputation as an exciting performer, a wonderful choreographer, a great and dedicated teacher, and she has been so busy during the pandemic, especially in 2021, with several exclusive online digital commissions. Welcome, Rama.
Thank you very much, Akka. Great to be here.
So I want to start by talking about your yet to be released or premiered work. You've called it Sannidhanam, Sacred Spaces. So tell us about it.
So Govinda of Mandala Arts, and he wanted to present me for this festival that he has every year. He presents just one standalone performance. And this year was special because they were celebrating 20 years of the Vancouver Dance Center. So he was doing it in partnership with the Vancouver Dance Center. So he literally left it to me and he asked me to present a new work. And I thought to myself that I had already done 2 solos this particular year, specially commissioned. And that was for the medium. And I hadn't worked with a group for the camera. So I thought it'll be exciting to actually work with a group. So since he left it to me, he would have been okay if I did a solo or a duet or anything. But I told him that I wanted to do a group with my students. And he was game. He said, fine. So which is why I decided to do group, mainly because I wanted to experiment and work on a group work for the camera. And Sannidhanam, Sacred Spaces, it's basically sacred geometry, the triangle, the square, and the circle. And Bharatanatyam as an idiom lends itself so beautifully to explore these shapes. And these shapes look so simple, but we all know they're potent with so much of symbolism and significance and spiritual content. And I know lots of people have done it, Akka, over the years, sacred geometry and all of that. But I think, you know, it's nice to see different perspectives and the way you treat the topic with a group. And I thought this particular topic needed a group. I wanted to explore it with a group. So it was really exciting.
You know, I'm reminded of the way Bala Saraswati and John Higgins, the scholar, described Bharatanatyam itself. It spoke about entering a temple, right? About the circumambulation of the outer parikrama, then you go into the inner parikrama, then you go into the Garbhagraham or the Sannidhanam, you know, the inner space. So what were the images you had, Rama, when you were creating it? Is it segment-wise? Is it a story narrative?
Yes, it's definitely segment-wise. A section for the square, a section for the triangle, and a section for the circle. And square was very interesting because, you know, even in group choreography, like even if somebody wants to do a tilana or anything, you know, we place our dancers one behind the other, you know, so that itself has a precision to it, which looks beautiful. And all our temple architecture is based on the square. And in a lot of research that I did, I realized and I learned that the whole concept of the square in Indian ethos started from the Vedic fire and adherence to the 4 directions. And that's exactly what we do in Hindu temples. Directions is so important in Vastu Shastra and in temple architecture. So I've explored these concepts now for the square. For the triangle, I call it Yoni Tantra because the female vulva is in the shape of a triangle and symbolizing fertility and sensuality and you know, her this great deal of reverence for her womb. And of course, what came to my mind is Kamakya Devi. And Kamakya in Assam becomes Kamakshi for Dikshidhar. So I kind of knit in the Kamakya Tantra with a beautiful composition by Dikshidhar to explore the triangle. And, you know, I found it very interesting because Mandala Arts is presenting it. And everything about this is you know, mirrors the word Mandala. So I could have very well called my production Mandala, but I thought, okay, let Jai Govinda have that word for himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating topic, actually. I've found a lot of European dancers, especially those of German and Spanish origin, fascinated by the sacred geometry, and many of them have attempted small solos and groups based on this impulse, on this inspiration. But my next question to you, Rama, is that, you know, where you have developed a distinct style, a style of your own, a style of moving, and the way you use space, the way you cover space, the way you bring space into your performance. How were you able to translate and transfer what you wanted in your mind to your group? I mean, what was that process for you? Challenging, exciting, sometimes frustrating? Just tell us, you know, some of the emotions that you were going through with that. Because sometimes what you want in your mind, it's not quite happening with the group. And sometimes you say, were you sort of changing stuff at the last moment when you saw things on the group?
So the first thing is that I had this dedicated group of 8 students of mine who were available to me 24 hours for 3 months. So that was a huge thing for me. Yes, it was very, very easy to work with them. So like you said, I create something and then it doesn't work. And then I say, okay, delete. Let's work on it again. And they were always, you know, enthusiastic about, you know, creating new movements and doing it. And many times I would just do movements with them, you know, not just choreograph it mechanically and teach it to them like an item. No, everything happened very, very organically. So like suppose if it was a circle, we went around in circles. We spent one whole day just looking at everything circular. You know, we discussed about seasons which are in a circle, night and day, the sunrise and sunset is in a circle. You know, everything, so many things that we wear, the bangles the Gopikas wore when they did the Rasa Mandala in a circle, that is a circle, the Gajra they wore. So these conversations we had, and, you know, these experiments with movements we did. So we had time in our hands because of the lockdown, and, you know, because I had these 8 kids staying with me for 3 months. So that really, really worked. And like you said, I really worked and unworked and did and undid and, you know, did a lot of that. And finally, everything came into place. But lights played a very, very important role, as you can imagine, you know. And Deepa Dharmadikari, this lovely, lovely ace, you know,
She's
light
lovely.
designer. She's lovely.
Yes.
She's done a lot of work for you also.
Yes,
I know.
being a dancer, you know, it sort of
Yes.
helped because, and she would insist on coming, sitting in on rehearsal, taking the notes.
Yes.
I think those, yes, it would play a huge, huge role because lights become a co-performer, especially in the digital medium, especially in the digital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have to tell their own story in a different way, in tandem with my story.
Yes.
And especially this particular theme, you know, where I'm talking about shapes and sizes, and carving geometry in space. So that really worked. And I worked with her a lot. We had many discussions and meetings, and she came up with a fantastic light design. And I'm really excited for people to see it.
How did you place yourself in the work, Rama? I mean, you designed the work with the dancers, and then how did you place yourself? Did you say, okay, this is where I'm going to do my solo, this is where I'm going to do my thing, this is where the dancers will join me? Because that's always been, you know, for me, a question when the soloist, the star soloist, stepping out, choreographing, and stepping back in. So tell me what that process was like for you.
So first of all, in my mind, I was one of them. I was not the star performer in the group. So if I choreographed something, it would not be with me in the front or me in the center or me being the prime mover and everybody moving behind me. The whole production is not like that. I'm just one of them. So it was very easy for me to visualize myself there. Sometimes I would ask one of them to be there in my place, and then I would look at it and see it, because every time all of us were not on stage together. So that really helped, the fact that I was not the key player in the production. So I was able to put myself there easily.
Okay. I want to now reel back to Anveshana, which was a commission by Lata and SAMPRADAYA Arts from Toronto, Canada, for the Anveshana Digital Festival. This happened in May, I think. And you did a very interesting work called Moving Boundaries. And I'll tell you, it's not often that in a full work, especially in this pandemic, that moments stay in your mind. But the moment that stayed in my mind, Rama, was the opening with that sliver of light in a diagonal and with your feet, you know? So what was that opening about? You were, of course, you called it Moving Boundaries, but what was that moment about? What was your intention? What did you want to convey with that?
So I wanted to convey the fact that we as dancers constantly negotiate our boundaries. You know, we step out of them, we step in, and, you know, we are like on the edge sometimes. So I wanted to explore that. And I thought the best way to do it is the Kattadavu, the basic Adavu for Bharatanatyam. And that particular production, the light designer I worked with was Gyande. So he gave me this corridor light, and then I played around with it, you know, thinking that this is the Bharatanatyam margam, the tradition, the convention, you know, everything that was the light. And whatever I did outside and inside and working around and playing around with it was what I'd been doing all my life, negotiating with my boundaries. So that's what I wanted to explore.
Well, before we bring in the camera person, Ini Singh, who was your companion for all the three productions, I want to talk about your ongoing collaboration and connection with Sudha Raguraman, the music composer. She's also been there as the voice for you, as the sound bed, as actually the oral spine, in a sense. So what was it like? What is it like working with Sudha, and how have you both grown in your relationship and your understanding of each other's art?
So the most important thing is that the accessibility that Sudha and I have with each other, you know, like emotionally and physically, because she's in Delhi, you know, so we're able to meet and we're able to brainstorm, and we've been working together for more than 20, 25 years. So that is the connection I have with her. What I find with her, she's absolutely accomplished. She's brilliant, and she knows dance. She studied dance. I mean, she's studied dance in the sense she's been in close proximity to dance for so many years. But what I really like about Sudha is that she makes the production hers. She gets involved in it, and she gives that oneness into that production, and she gives her whole heart and soul to it. So it's very, very easy to work with her, because I like to work with people who are positive and happy and crack jokes, and, you know, who eat well. We bring stuff to eat in the recording studio. You know, before the items, we decide what to eat, you know, so that's exciting. So that way I really find working with her really, really wonderful. And Moving Boundaries, she did such a fantastic job. She got appreciation from all over the world for her music composition, Moving Boundaries, because she truly understood. The basic thing is understanding what I want. And when she gives it to me, and when she sings, and when I say, you know, can we adjust this way, that way, she's absolutely open to suggestions. Just as I am open to. If I want something and she says, no, you know, that won't work, I completely see what she means. So that kind of camaraderie that we have really helps.
I saw a photo of you in the recording studio with the headphones on when she's singing and you were dancing, you know, and I I also find it helps actually when you have a singer who understands the dance though. No, some singers and some musicians don't really understand the dance. They just want to be told, so many avartanams and just do a neravel or an alapana for 2 minutes. But I thought it was really nice because Sudha could actually sing with a feeling because you were there dancing right there, in the recordings. I thought that was very, very interesting. I want to bring in a camera person, Ini Singh now, because we will talk about your third digital commission. Actually, it was after ANWESANA and Moving Boundaries. You did a work for World Music Institute, curated by Rajika Puri for their virtual 2021 festival called Dancing the Gods. And Rajika is such an enthusiastic and such a hardworking curator. But what I found really interesting, and we're going to talk to Ini when we bring him in, is you chose a completely non-indoor auditorium venue. So may I welcome photographer, videographer now, camera person, Ini Singh to the conversation. Hello, Mr. Ini Singh, and welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Anita ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me. Hello, Rama ji. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
So Ini, the idea to shoot the Dancing the Gods 3 pieces on your terrace with Humayun's tomb in the back, beautiful visual. Was it yours or was it Rama's?
The idea was Ramaji's because she came and she saw the place and she said, yeah, we'll shoot here. So that was the first time for me. And I was kind of, okay, let's try. And obviously she designed it. She designed the whole, how we'll shoot, where the cameras will be. And that was quite an interesting video when it came out. I never hoped of shooting anything like that on my terrace.
Oh, lovely to have a dancer give a camera person an inspiration. I just love it. I love it. But Ini, did you just shoot in natural light or did you have some filler light for that?
No, it was only ambient light. We didn't use any fillers. Nothing at all. Not even any reflectors, nothing. It was all ambient light.
Because that was so soft. It was so soft and beautiful, And I'm I love natural light. The mornings and like the afternoons at 4 o'clock or 4:30, the light is so beautiful at that time. And there's one particular piece, I don't know which one it was, but when Rama was at a lower level and the camera was either from overhead or it was direct. Yes, that one piece, I think it was about Krishna and the flute. There was one. And I found that so beautiful, And tell me, you have control, Ini, when you have a dancer come into your studio for still photography. You can say, you can set your light and do this. But when you're shooting a dancer, and especially a dancer like Rama, who's so full of movement, how many rehearsals do you like to watch? And are you designing your camera angles as you're watching her? Or do you set them? And is she adapting to where the camera is? Tell me how it works.
See, particularly the one piece that you were referring to, where the camera was slightly higher and she was at a lower level, that was a gimbal. That was a moving camera that I was using. I was following her while she was dancing. So, that was quite interesting to, this was the first time. And since I like shooting dancers very close, I like shooting close-ups, even when they're on stage. I really enjoyed shooting that piece for Ramaji. But from the stage point of view, the best thing that about Ramaji is when she has choreographed or designed her performance, or whatever the process behind is, she has also designed the way she wants it to be. The video has to be. So I would say I was very lucky to know that that Ramaji already told me, you have to place cameras here, here, and here, and this is what I want. And it's not like that we had 5-6 cameras and we were giving a 2-3 second cut to every shot. She really wanted to showcase the dance in a way, like the hard work that she was doing. It should be visible on the camera. Not just making like a Bollywood, like a stage show or a Filmfare Award or something like that. It should look like a dance video. So that is what helped me in positioning the cameras. I did see a couple of her rehearsals, which were, and the soft light that you were mentioning also was that spot on my terrace was also selected by Ramaji herself, because when she came to the terrace, she saw, okay, this wall is there, so the sunlight is not coming here, so this will be soft light here. And I was like, yeah, Ramaji knows her subject very well. Even before the cameraman would tell her, she knows everything where the light is falling. And that is how we got that soft light. Otherwise, on an open terrace where there's nothing covering it, you have a lot of sunlight, very harsh light. You can only put like white large cloth to soften the light, to diffuse the sunlight. But luckily we didn't have that problem that day, and it turned out to be really nice, really interesting.
Rama, when you after you shoot a particular scene or a segment, say for Moving Boundaries in ANWESANA, where you shot inside IIC, right, the Indian International Center,
Yes.
and then you go back and you look at that like through the lens. You want to see how it looks. Was there a point in any one of the 3 works that you did where you said, I don't like the camera angle, can you move the camera and we'll do it again? Was there any point at any part of the choreography where you told I think you should, maybe I'll shift my angle of the choreography, change my choreography, or you change where you put the camera?
So the thing is, while we are shooting it, I very rarely go and look at what is happening in the camera. I don't go. I mean, I'm completely involved in doing what I have to do in front of the camera, and I'm not bothered at that moment what is happening behind the camera. But when we are editing, so that is when we have these 4-5 shots. That's when Ini and I have spent hours and hours and hours. Moving Boundaries took us 30 hours, right, Ini?
Yeah.
Literally 30 hours.
Between COVID, I heard. Ini, you had COVID as well in between, or something like that happened?
The same evening I shot that production, I had a test done and I was COVID positive that night.
So it's when editing and through these productions, Akka, I myself have learned so much about camera angles and dance for camera and editing and all of that. So during editing, when he shows me these shots, that's when I feel, okay, this shot doesn't work, and that is a shot. And also I thought to myself that what is my intent on doing this online performance? Is it to give the complete experience of the proscenium? No, we can't. We definitely can't. So might as well use the positives of the medium and that complement Bharatanatyam. So I thought, okay, let me use the medium in a way that complements the dance and not try my best to give it a proscenium look or to make it look like a theater performance, which we in any case can't do. So that was my intent on the editing table when I was sitting with Ini all throughout. And with Ini, Akka, with Ini, I have to say that he's not somebody who will come, shoot, and then go away. He's like, he will come, even if there is one small shift of the curtain, like a half a centimeter, he'll say, "Are wo curtain ko change karo, usko straight karo." He's got that eye for trifles, for little things he's got. And I think that makes perfection and that gives quality, right? So he has a true eye for quality, which really helped in the productions.
And it can't be easy, Ini, because our theaters are just so below standard. The flooring is so terrible. The curtains are never the right shade. They are never matte enough. They're never black enough. I mean, I can go on and on because, like, Rama, I've also had my experiences. But Rama, I just wanted to ask you this question. Through this pandemic, you've been teaching online. You've been meeting your students, a lot of them on Zoom. What have you learned about maybe changing your own choreography for this flattening, for the camera and for the computer? Has it consciously or unconsciously shifted the kind of movements you choose when you are teaching on the digital platform?
Akka, I haven't shifted my teaching per se for the digital platform. I've been teaching what I've been teaching, what I would have taught them if they were, if face to face with me. I've not done that. But when I choreograph for the camera or when I dance for the camera, it's not so much that I change the content or like, okay, it's camera, so let's make it more nritya oriented, or it's close up medium, so let's make it more abhinaya oriented. No, that's not what I've done. What I have done is spent a lot of thought on angles. Like this adavu looks nice in this angle. This adavu looks nice. The tattaitam looks nice in this angle. So I have worked with angles. That's what I've done.
Yeah, I think the camera picks up asymmetry. Something when you have an extension of a leg, an extension of the arm, when you have movements that change levels, those are the things that the camera picks up and makes interesting. And I think that's where Western contemporary dance looks so interesting, because it has so many different kinds of movements. And I think our classical dance, in a sense, is really trying to relearn, Rama, how our dance is actually being interpreted by the camera's eye. In a sense, Ini, your camera becomes a co-performer, because what it's capturing and then what it's going to deliver is Rama being mediated by the camera eye and then edited and then delivered. So your work or your role is equal, if not more. Rama, do you find that for these kinds of performances, you have to do so much more pre-production? Like your planning is not just a performance. You really have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're so right. You're so right, Akka. Yes, absolutely. Pre-production, preparation is so much more because let's face it, the reach is much higher, much greater. The reach is greater. And that's, you are exposing yourself to that much more audience and that many more people. And so when you do that, you have to understand that you have to create something that is pleasing to the eye and emotionally really people are emotionally happy across the board. It's not a particular corporate performance where there are only corporate people sitting, or there's not a sabha performance where only people who understand music and Bharatanatyam are sitting. It's like across the board. So we have to be very, very judicious, I think, in choosing our themes, our topics, and what we present. I think that's important. So.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to you on that, because it's a very interesting point that I think we can talk about, Rama. But Ini, I was in conversation with camera person and film director Rajiv Menon, and he loves Carnatic music. He's loved Bharatanatyam for many years, and he was saying that most of the work that he sees of on the digital medium with classical dance still seems flat. It still seems like a camera is just observing and capturing. So he was saying he would love to see at one point a camera strapped onto the dancer's body, if it's a group work, and that dancer in that ensemble, so that you actually are inside the work, which in a sense was really interesting just to think about it. And I know that there are some Bharatanatyam dancers in London who are already experimenting with virtual reality, with VR. So they're putting on those kinds of eye
VR sets. Yeah.
So Rama, so this is really interesting, because we're moving into a world, I think, where the digital will not really go away, but we are going to be moving into a world where a performance has to be not a performance but an experience. So
yes.
And we cannot compete with film. We cannot compete with cinema with the kind of budgets they have.
And also we don't need to.
Correct.
We don't need to, because everybody doesn't have that sensitivity to understand poetry and the fine arts.
Yes, but at the same time, Rama, are we being a little too elitist now about our arts? Are we being a little too smug and are we holding it too precious? Do we need to really look at the wonderful stuff that our arts contain, our classical arts contain, and to make it more accessible to people?
Yes, Akka, I really think we need to look at accessibility. Accessibility two ways. One is accessibility to the next generation who's taken up dance. And in that area, I would say that youngsters should not struggle for music or for the meaning of a particular padam or for a varnam or get jatis composed or not understanding who's going to mentor their one particular choreography that they are thinking about. So I think they need to have access, and this in this time and age when they have access to information on all kinds of information under the sun, why not information and learning and knowledge and experience that we all have? Why can't we just share everything that we have to them? Because I think they need to have complete access, not only to what we know, also to what we've experienced and what we have gathered in terms of music or notes. It could be, notes of a padam or a varnam. I think accessibility is important. And the next accessibility, I would say, is accessibility to audience. And during the pandemic, that has really, really happened. And I think that can happen only if all of us together make dance relevant for today. Yes, Bharatanatyam is a traditional art form, age-old art form, but we cannot forget that we are performing it in contemporary times. So it is as contemporary as it can get. And you say that, Akka. So I feel that it's important for that accessibility factor. We need to, of course, preserve and conserve and perform and propagate and, pass it on, whatever we've learned. But it's also, we need to make it relevant. And I feel we need to cross boundaries. We need to, I remember after moving boundaries, you wrote something saying that, it would be nice if there was a top camera.
Yes, for your piece on
Yes, and do you know in Sannidhanam, Inni placed a camera right on top, right next to the top light. And it captured the triangle and the square and the circle, that beautiful light corridors that Deepa gave. It captured that very, very beautifully. So, we need to take risks. We need to think out of the box. We need to keep that balance between tradition and the contemporary, and that is what is going to make it accessible to the world.
Inni, you live in a city like Delhi where you have access to all the classical forms, right? Everything is there in Delhi. What is it about, now from the mouth of a good old Punjabi, I want to know, what is it about Bharatanatyam that you like? And what is it that you wish Bharatanatyam could do more with?
See, I'll answer the second one first. Something that I could understand, probably maybe a language, because I don't understand what is happening. So it's kind of obvious because we don't have any Bharatanatyam dancers in the family, or dancers for that, for that matter, not even a dancer. But I do come from a family which has, a few of us have had music. And because I come from a musical instrument family, business family, so I know something. But it's a very difficult question to answer. What do I like about Bharatanatyam? Because to be very honest, in this interview on record, I will say, when I see Bharatanatyam, I think this is the most beautiful dance form. But when I see Odissi, I'm like, this is the most beautiful dance form. And then when I see Kathak, I'm like, no, this is better. So, and every dance has so much beauty in it, but it's very difficult to tell what is. But I do see a lot of variety when it comes to Bharatanatyam these days, because people are doing a lot of, like Ramaji is doing a lot of things, and I've seen others. I've photographed other dancers. I've seen some productions I've seen online who are doing really different kind of work, but it's also Bharatanatyam. But then I see some negative comments on that and all that also. So, obviously, because the technicalities of that dance form I am not aware of. I only whenever I used to photograph dances, I was only and only looking for the beauty in it. So wherever I saw beauty or wherever I felt the music was connecting to me and I was connecting with the dancer or the dance form, I was really enjoying it. But other than that, I don't think I can judge anything to, other than language. Somebody can translate to me every time, okay, this is what they're singing. And I really enjoy the part when every dancer before the performance, they explain what they're going to do. Because when you don't understand the lyrics, what is happening, you at least know the scene. Okay, this is what they explained, so this is what they're trying to show. So
I'm going to stop you right there and then actually say, we should not need to explain too much. You should be able to receive beyond language, actually heart to heart, because we're filtering it through the brain. We're trying to say, do I understand? Do I not understand? Do I understand? Do I not understand? And many times, Ini, when we don't understand, we equate it to, okay, then it's not interesting enough because I don't understand. But after working so long with Ramaji, you have got to have picked up some Tamil or some Malayalam words, for sure. So the next time,
Inni, that word.
Which one? I don't remember. I remember Ille, but I don't know.
Cholle.
Yeah.
So I said, this is the cholle part. Cholle. He said, what is this cholle? He was asking.
Because, when you're saying cholle and, you're emphasizing the l, it sounds like Punjabi. Cholle. So challa, so it's like, okay, it must be something related.
Anyway, listen, but Ini, I think for you, it's been as much a learning journey to be, shooting an artist like Rama. And I'm sure we're going to see more of your camera work. And I'm hoping that it would become more daring and more, more creative, inventive, because really right now, technology is going to be such a big game changer for the arts and specifically for the performing arts. So how we embrace it, I know many people in the Bharatanatyam world will be looking to Rama Vaidyanathan because she is such a global leader and she has such a large fan following. But Rama, I want to thank you for this conversation, for this time. Thank you, Ini. I want to wish Sannidhanam, the sacred spaces, all the best when it premieres for Mandala Arts on the digital platform. And you may miss touring as often as you have been, Rama, but look, you stay in one place in your city and you reach a wider audience. I mean, look at that. Look at what the pandemic has actually offered us the opportunity to do. So thank you both for this conversation, and thank you all as an audience for watching, and keep tuning into our platforms for more such interesting and engaging and conversations about First Look, about works in progress and works in process. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Namaste.